Imagine selling over 1 billion records worldwide, an achievement only accomplished by one man, Elvis Presley. Born in the heart of Mississippi, Elvis Aaron Presley was destined to become not just a singer, but a global phenomenon, the king of rock and roll. His music, a fusion of blues, country and gospel, broke the barriers of the time, reshaping the music industry forever. His unique style and charismatic stage presence captured the hearts of millions, making him one of the most popular artists of the 20th century. With record-breaking sales, he set the bar high, far beyond the reach of many. His influence on the music industry, immense and enduring, continues to resonate even today, decades after his untimely demise. But behind the glitz and glamour, who was the man behind the legend? Join us as we delve into the life of this extraordinary man, tracing his journey from humble beginnings to the dizzying heights of stardom. Born to a working-class family in Tupelo, Mississippi, Elvis's journey to stardom was far from easy. A tale of rags to riches, Elvis Aaron Presley was born in the heart of the Great Depression in 1935. He was the surviving half of a pair of identical twins, a tragedy that marked the beginning of a life full of challenges and hardships. His parents, Vernon and Gladys, struggled to make ends meet, living in a two-room house built by Vernon himself. Elvis's childhood was a patchwork of financial difficulties and constant moving. Despite the hardships, it was during these early years that the seeds of his love for music were sown. His mother, with her rich, soulful voice, was his first exposure to the world of melodies and rhythm. She would sing him to sleep, her voice a soothing balm against the harsh realities of their life. At the tender age of 10, Elvis received his first guitar as a birthday gift. It wasn't the bicycle he'd hoped for, but it turned out to be the catalyst that would change his life forever. He embraced the instrument, spending hours strumming its strings and crooning songs he'd heard in church. His love for music was nurtured in the Assembly of God Church, where gospel music resonated with his soul, igniting a passion that would set the course for his future. Elvis's teenage years were spent in Memphis, Tennessee, a city pulsating with the rhythm of blues, gospel and country music. It was here that he began to experiment with different genres, blending them into a unique style that would later become his signature sound. His humble beginnings instilled in him a deep empathy for those less fortunate. Even as he rose to fame, he never forgot his roots. His generous spirit was as much a part of his legacy as his music. From these humble beginnings, a star was born. In 1954, a young Elvis walked into Sun Records, unknowingly setting the stage for a music revolution. Elvis Presley, a truck driver from Tupelo, Mississippi, was just 19 when he stepped into Sun Records, a small studio in Memphis, Tennessee. With a burning desire to sing and a guitar in his hands, he was ready to showcase his talent. Little did he know this humble audition would catapult him into the annals of music history. Elvis's unique blend of country, rhythm and blues and gospel was something the world had never heard before. His first single, That's All Right, was a groundbreaking hit. The song was a breath of fresh air, breaking away from the traditional music of the time. Elvis's unique voice, his raw energy, and his ability to captivate an audience were all on full display. The young starlet's career took off like a rocket. His electrifying performances and charismatic stage presence quickly earned him a loyal fan base. His music began to climb the charts and his face began to grace the covers of magazines. Elvis was becoming a household name, and his star was only rising. His performances were unlike anything seen before. His signature dance moves, combined with his soulful voice, created a mesmerizing spectacle that left audiences in awe. Elvis was not just a singer, he was a performer, a showman, a force of nature. But the road to stardom wasn't always smooth. Elvis faced criticism and backlash for his unconventional style and provocative performances, but he didn't let the naysayers deter him. He stayed true to his vision, pushing the boundaries of music and performance. Elvis's meteoric rise to fame was not just about his music. It was about breaking barriers, challenging norms, and redefining what it meant to be a star. His journey was a testament to his passion, his talent, and his unwavering belief in himself. With his unique voice and energetic performances, Elvis quickly captured the hearts of millions. Despite his success, Elvis's journey was not without its obstacles. Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, had a life that was as tumultuous as it was glamorous. With fame came challenges and controversies that made his journey far from a smooth sail. Elvis's electrifying performances, while adored by many, were controversial in their time. His provocative dance moves, like the now iconic hip swivel, were viewed as scandalous and even obscene by some sections of society. This was the era of conservatism, and Elvis's unabashed display of energy and sexuality on stage was seen as a direct challenge to the established norms. Critics berated him, parents forbade their children from watching him, and some even called for his performances to be banned. But Elvis, true to his rebellious spirit, carried on, undeterred by the criticism. Just when his career was soaring high, Elvis's world was turned upside down. In 1958, at the peak of his career, he was drafted into the US Army. The news hit his fans like a thunderbolt. For 2 years, Elvis swapped his flashy stage costumes for a military uniform, his adoring fans for fellow soldiers. The king of rock and roll was now Private Presley, just another young man serving his country. But even in the face of such a major career disruption, Elvis stood tall. His time in the army, while challenging, only made him more human and relatable to his fans. The fame that Elvis garnered was colossal, and with it came immense pressure. The world's gaze was constantly upon him, and every move he made was scrutinized and dissected. The constant attention, the relentless demands of his career, and the isolation that fame often brings all took a toll on Elvis. He struggled with his mental health, often feeling trapped and lonely despite being surrounded by people. In the midst of all this, Elvis's personal life was also marked by controversy. His relationship with Priscilla Beaulieu, who was only 14 when they met, was met with public disapproval. Despite the controversy, they married in 1967 and had a daughter, Lisa Marie, a year later. However, the marriage was fraught with difficulties and ended in divorce in 1973. In many ways, these challenges and controversies that Elvis faced and the way he navigated them defined him. They made him more than just a singer or a performer. They made him a symbol of rebellion, of resilience, and of the struggle that often lies behind the glittering facade of fame. Elvis Presley, the man who could make millions swoon with a simple strum of his guitar, was also a man who battled adversities, braved controversies, and bore the weight of fame with a grace that only added to his allure. He was a man who lived his life in the spotlight, yet remained enigmatic and elusive. These trials, however, only added to the complexity of Elvis's persona. Behind the scenes, Elvis was fighting a battle of his own. The king of rock and roll, known for his electrifying performances and charismatic presence, was embroiled in a personal war with drug addiction. This battle was one he fought far from the bright lights and the adoring fans. It was a fight waged behind the closed doors of Graceland, his Memphis mansion. Elvis's struggle began innocuously enough. In the late 50s, during his stint in the army, he started using amphetamines to cope with the grueling demands of military life. This seemingly harmless habit, born out of necessity, spiraled into a lifelong addiction that would ultimately consume him. As the 60s rolled in, so did the pressures of fame. Elvis was no longer just a singer, he was a cultural icon, a symbol of rebellion for an entire generation. With this colossal fame came colossal stress. The relentless touring, the unending media scrutiny, the constant need to outdo himself, it all took a toll on Elvis. And to cope, he turned to a cocktail of prescription drugs. These drugs, prescribed by unscrupulous doctors, were a deadly mix of barbiturates, opiates, and tranquilizers. They promised solace, an escape from the pressures of his stardom. But in reality, they were slowly eroding his health. His once energetic performances became erratic. His radiant smile became a vacant stare. The king was visibly crumbling. By the 70s, Elvis's addiction had spiraled out of control. His health was in rapid decline, and his once vibrant career was faltering. Despite the efforts of those close to him, Elvis was unable to break free from the chains of his addiction. On August 16, 1977, the world woke up to the devastating news. Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, had died at the age of 42. The cause of death was heart failure, but many believe that his long-standing drug abuse was a significant contributing factor. Elvis's untimely death sent shockwaves across the globe. It was a tragic end to a life that had brought so much joy to millions. But beyond the shock and the grief, there was a sobering lesson, a reminder of the devastating impact of drug addiction, a reminder that even kings are not immune to the ravages of substance abuse. Elvis's struggle with addiction serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of fame. It's a cautionary tale that underscores the importance of mental health and the dangers of unchecked drug abuse. It's a testament to the fact that behind the glitter and the glamour, even our greatest heroes are human, susceptible to the same struggles we all face. And it's a plea for compassion, understanding and support for those battling their own personal demons. Despite his untimely death, Elvis's legacy lives on. The impact of the king of rock and roll on the music industry is as profound as it is enduring. Presley's unique blend of country, rhythm and blues and gospel, which he infused with his own brand of charisma, forever altered the landscape of popular music. He was a pioneer, a visionary who dared to push the boundaries and challenge the status quo. Elvis's influence can be seen in the generations of musicians who followed in his footsteps. From the Beatles, who cited him as a major influence, to modern artists like Bruno Mars and Justin Bieber, Presley's mark is indelible. His swagger, his style, his soulful voice, all have been emulated, replicated, but never duplicated. Elvis's music continues to resonate with people of all ages, all around the world. His timeless hits like Heartbreak Hotel, Love Me Tender and Jailhouse Rock are still celebrated today, more than 4 decades after they were first released. These songs have transcended time and space, becoming anthems for multiple generations. His music has been covered by countless artists, further attesting to its universal appeal. Beyond his music, Elvis's cultural impact is equally significant. He was more than just a musician. He was a cultural phenomenon, a symbol of rebellion and individuality in a time of conformity. His flamboyant style and provocative performances challenged societal norms and paved the way for future artists to express themselves freely. Elvis was a trailblazer, both on and off the stage. Despite his success, Elvis never lost his humility. He was known for his generosity, often giving away cars, jewelry and money to those in need. His philanthropic efforts further cemented his legacy as a man of the people. Elvis's life was not without its share of struggles. His battle with drug addiction and his untimely death at the age of 42 serve as a cautionary tale. Yet, even in his darkest moments, Elvis's talent shone through. His story is a reminder that even the greatest of us are human, susceptible to the same pitfalls and challenges. Elvis's legacy is also preserved in Graceland, his lavish estate in Memphis, Tennessee. Today, it serves as a museum, a shrine to the king of rock and roll. Each year, hundreds of thousands of fans make the pilgrimage to Graceland to pay their respects, bearing witness to the enduring allure of Elvis Presley. The legacy of Elvis Presley is not just in the music he left behind, but in the cultural shift he initiated. He broke down barriers, he challenged conventions, and he left an indelible mark on the world of music and beyond. His influence continues to ripple through the generations, touching artists and fans alike. More than 4 decades after his death, Elvis Presley remains the undeniable king of rock and roll, a testament to his enduring influence and the power of his music. His legacy lives on, a beacon of creativity, individuality, and the transformative power of music. Elvis may have left the building, but the echo of his voice, the rhythm of his music, and the impact of his life continue to reverberate throughout the world. Long live the King. We hope you enjoyed this journey into the life of the king of rock and roll. As we've seen, Elvis's influence is as profound as it is enduring, touching artists and fans alike. We'd love to hear your thoughts about Elvis Presley, his life, his music, and his legacy. Please share your reflections in the comments below. If you know someone who's a fan of Elvis or would simply appreciate this deep dive into his life, do share this video with them. Your support helps us create more content like this. If you haven't already, click on the subscribe button for more fascinating insights into the lives of iconic figures. Thank you for watching. Remember, long live the King.